mean, I don't know if I would have gotten through COVID without the support of my forum, and not just the emotional support and the love, but I don't know, the resources I've learned about that I didn't know existed, and just other members that, have helped me out, that someone's like, oh, there's this person, you should go talk to them. They've dealt with that. And I think that having that network has been huge.
Today's guest is someone I've had the privilege of knowing for years. Someone whose journey exemplifies what it means to learn about yourself through the crucible of entrepreneurship. Lisbet Halvorsen is the founder and CEO of Ravishing Radish Catering Company, a company she started 33 years ago and which now employs 75 and has catered events for everyone from Hillary Clinton to Amazon executives and a multitude of wedding parties. But Lisbet's story isn't just that she built a successful catering business. It's also a story about what happened after she joined the Entrepreneurs Organization 8 years ago. Lisbet embodies qualities seen in the very best of people: the courage to be vulnerable, the wisdom to ask for help, and the strength to fundamentally change who you are in service of who you're meant to become. It's a story about how joining a community of fellow entrepreneurs didn't just change Lisbet's business, it saved it. I'm Aaron Burnett, and this is Lisbet's story on Moments That Matter from EO Seattle.
Tell me your story. Tell me your entrepreneurial journey.
I started the Radish in 1993. Ravishing Radish was the name I chose just to be the placeholder name. And 33 years later, it's still the name. I thought it was my joke name, and it stuck. So I'd be driving the vans downtown, and people would see it, and you could see them mouthing out Ravishing Radish Catering. And so I thought, okay, it makes people smile. So we kept the name. It was me and just me selling, doing the actual events itself, the cleanup. And then I started getting some friends involved to help. And then it's kind of grown over the years. And now we've got 15 people that are, relatively full-time. And then we've got a whole staff of about 75 that work, the events when we have them. So
wow. And what kind of events?
Kind of do a little bit of everything. We love weddings, so we've kind of become known as the wedding caterer. But after COVID, we've been trying to shift into more corporate business to kind of round things out, since the world is so weird right now with everything.
In so many ways.
Yeah, we really love to do like large, full scale, like galas and auctions and openings and product launches and things like that. But we do a little bit of everything depending on the time of year. Ravishing Radish is a place where we hope it's going to be as much fun to plan the party as it is to have the party itself, because we really enjoy the process of finding out what our clients want and need and are afraid of. I always try to ask the clients, like, what are you afraid of? Or what, because some people are like, I'm scared of bar lines, or I just don't want to run out of food, or I'm scared that you're going to be late, or so we just like to know that up front so we can mitigate anything that might make them stressed out. Because I think a stressed out client, if they're stressed out from the planning process or lose confidence, then the day of the event they're not they're not their best selves.
Yes.
So I think, giving people the confidence that we can do it. And we do have a lot of experience and lots of systems in place to make, most things run smoothly. Our food is amazing. I think I'm always surprised by how they love our food, because our food is just the way we make the food. And recently we had an event where a friend texted me, and his wife's like a mucky muck in the the Washington state government. They're at the event, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish I had gone. If I'd known they were going to be there. And he's like, well, why would you serve the good food then? And I'm like, no, I guess. He's like, the food's excellent, don't worry. So I was like, okay, we did send the good food. So
right.
Yeah, so I think it's just really consistent. Our level of service is really consistent. We don't use any at all those rentable people, like the temporary workers.
Sure.
They're all Radish employees. That giving you the confidence that we can do it is kind of my biggest goal, because I know that once we get there, we'll do a great job. So
you do have a distinctive style.
Yeah, I think that's kind of, and it's funny because we're doing a lot more corporate business now. And so, we were trying to figure out what that looks like compared to what we normally do for like these fancy weddings or these really, over the top galas and stuff. And I think that I'm like, it doesn't have to be different. The food's obviously not going to be different. I mean, It might be different selections, but the food's going to have to be the same. Yummy, delicious, fabulous food. So
And what a treat to have something more beautiful in a corporate setting as well.
Yeah. Like we were just doing something over at Amazon, and it was like a breakfast. It wasn't very fancy. It was just like some breakfast things that you'd have. But the girls that came in were taking pictures of it. I'm like, we're taking pictures of the buffet at a corporate breakfast. And it made me really happy, because I was, it looked really nice. And I don't know what they're used to, but it was something that was more special than what they're used to. So that was really fun.
What makes Ravishing Radish different or distinctive from other catering companies in the area?
I think the staff really cares. I know that everyone probably thinks that their staff cares, but mine are just like up at night worrying about things that I don't have to worry about, which is nice. Like our operations team is like behind the scenes, doing crazy unloads of vans at night at midnight and then shifting them over the next day. And our chefs are just, dealing with vendor issues. Ever since COVID, we've had a lot of vendors that are, not as reliable as they have been. So there's been chasing down sea bass and just all the different things. So the food's amazing. We try to keep it very restaurant style food. So it's not like your traditional catering fare. The biggest compliment I heard recently was at a wedding and they're like, this doesn't taste like wedding food. I was like, thank you. And I knew exactly what that meant. And it was a big compliment because it's kind of got a bad rap in the food industry. So we try to keep food, what you'd want to have if you went out for a fine dining experience.
Yeah, I can attest to that. You've catered a couple of our events.
Yeah.
And the difference is it's food you actually want to eat, not food you need to get through at the event.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's not nerve-wracking at all catering for you because you're a foodie. So
I'm a foodie. Well, and I love your food.
Thank you.
What brought you to EO?
I've been in EO for, I think, about 8 or 9 years, and I had a couple friends that were in it. They both just, kept on encouraging me, and it kind of sounded like I don't belong in that group because these friends had really, successful, bigger companies than mine. And I don't know, I just finally just took the leap. I think I went to an event where they had an introduction to the people in EO, and it seemed at that time I could really just use the support. And I wasn't even sure if I'd get accepted. They have the, the interview process where you're sitting there looking at the big board of people, and I was terrified. But they let me in, and I've been in there happily since I was in your forum first, and now I'm in my second forum. Yeah, I've just gained so much from just the people I've met, and mostly just the confidence that, I am doing some things right. Which is always a bonus. So, yeah, because I felt like really alone. Like I was just kind of out there floundering. And I think one of the funniest things is I think it was our forum, everyone was talking about KPIs. And I was like, KPIs, yes. And then at the break, I went in the bathroom and Googled KPIs. And I'm like, oh, good Lord, it's just performance indicators. That's not that rough. I'm like, it's goals. We have those. And I just, so I think a lot of that kind of stuff kind of just made sense to me after I was a little bit less fearful of the whole process and just everybody's in the same boat.
Yeah. Yeah, I suspect that the prevalence of imposter syndrome, particularly for earlier EO members, maybe for tenured members as well, is probably approaching 100%.
Yeah.
Which is reassuring in its own right.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's my new forum too. I had known some of these people just, on the surface. And when I joined that forum, I was like, oh, here we go again, starting all over again. And it's been really lovely just getting to know them and realizing the same thing that no matter what, we all have the same problems, no matter how big our companies are or what we do.
Jumping back to Ravishing Radish, I'm curious about a couple of things. Most memorable event you've ever catered, either because it was fantastic or because it was just memorable.
I mean, I feel like the last event we did was really memorable. It was at Blodell Reserve on Bainbridge Island where I live. And it's kind of it's like the prettiest wedding I think I've ever catered because it was just on this, beautiful estate. And it's one of the first times I've ever left after the wedding, not having a lot of stuff in my mind to like change or fix, or I would have done this differently. So it was kind of a beautiful feeling, like the team just did everything, which I don't think has ever happened actually. So it was kind of nice because it was one that we really focused on, and the planner was great and the clients were wonderful. And it was just it was probably my favorite event. Well, we got to cater for Hillary Clinton for the Clinton Foundation once. So that was a lot of fun. And we were all big fans. Her table, we did wine service. So I grabbed the bottles of wine. I'm doing her table. So I took them out, and then I realized I had one red and one white, and she asked for white wine, and I was serving with my left hand, and I'm like, oh God, don't spill wine on Hillary Clinton. So I'm pouring and shaking, and she's oblivious to my nervous breakdown. But I poured her wine, and it was great. And she took a picture with us at the end, and the team was like just over the moon about that. So
how is Ravishing Radish different today than when you joined EO?
I think I'm a better leader. I mean, I think I was shying away from that word because it just seems like something I wasn't comfortable with or didn't think I was a leader. I'm like, I own a company. I own a catering company. I do that. And, I run around with trucks and food all the time. It kind of made me slow down and realize I have a role to play, and my role is important, that I need to keep the company going or else we're not going to have a company to go to. So I think it made me take a step back and look at kind of the bigger picture of what the company's all about and what makes it successful. And then learning from other people's experiences on, good and terrible things that have happened to other people, learning from them so I don't have to go through it myself.
I know you mentioned that you're a better leader.
Mm-hmm.
How are you different, though, maybe even more personally?
Kind of realizing how much pressure I'm under and how much, I think I just was always just doing it. I was, I had no one to compare it to. So I was just doing what I do, and I didn't realize how much stress I was under. So I think having, peers that you can kind of look to and learn from and just sort of realize how big of a job this is let me kind of slow down. I think you were privy to me deciding not to drink anymore. That was probably one of my biggest decisions, like over 6.5 years ago, or about 6 years ago. I just realized that I was using that as a kind of a way to deal with the stress. And I think that was something I wouldn't have noticed if I hadn't been, sitting down for, a few hours every month, just kind of really looking inward. And I'm proud of that because I think that's just a huge thing to just admit, especially, when you're supposed to be trying to be strong. And I'm in a party industry. That's why I throw parties for a living, and decide not to drink is kind of a big deal. But it's been really fun, and it's been one of the best things I've ever done. I think I really credit EO for that because my forum was the first people I ever even mentioned it to. So I think that even before my family, I was just like, I think I'm going to try this. And I think everyone was so supportive, and, no one was like, I don't know, there was just a lot of support there and love. So I think that made me feel like I could do that. So
yeah,
that's probably the biggest change. And then just my confidence in general, and just being in a podcast. I would never have said yes to this several years ago. So, so there's that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we continue, I want to tell you about the community that made this podcast possible. The Seattle chapter of EO, that's Entrepreneurs Organization. It's not networking, it's not selling to each other, it's real entrepreneurs sharing real challenges and solutions. If you have a business that does at least $1 million a year in revenue, and you're curious about joining a community that gets what you're going through, check out EO Seattle.
Having known you for several years, I can tell you that you seem much calmer.
Yeah.
Much more assured.
I have a hard time slowing down. So I think literally just sitting down for 4 hours or whatever the forum experience is, just sitting there kind of without your phone and without all the distractions, and just kind of looking inward and helping other people do the same thing, was really the start of me slowing down and being able to realize that, if you don't sit still and listen, you're not going to hear what's going on. So I think that's part of what I love about EO. It just kind of makes you, I never have time to go. I don't think anyone ever wants to go to those meetings because you're just like, I have 80,000 things to do. It's like working out or doing something that you should do. It's like you never wish you hadn't done it afterwards. So.
Yeah, I agree. I have the same experience quite often. I think I don't really have time for this.
Yeah.
Not really sure what I'm going to get out of it today. I'm sometimes not sure in the moment what I'm getting out of it.
Yeah.
Won't be until like 2 or 3 days later that something will pop up and I'll realize, oh, I heard something that's actually really valuable.
Yeah. Slowing down for me is really difficult to do. Even when I'm relaxing, I'm doing something. I'm creating art or doing some sort of project around the house. I can't just sit there. So I think that's been really helpful for me just to start to learn how to sit with myself.
You also have a leadership team now.
Yeah.
And as I recall, you didn't have a leadership team.
No, we do.
Yeah.
So that's been really valuable, and just kind of selecting certain people out of the company to kind of help me guide it. And I've learned different things about how to put one together and what kind of people should be on it, which is nice because you don't want everyone just who thinks like me. And, you want people who have different opinions and, perspectives on life. So
yeah. When you meet people, what do you want them to know about you?
That I'm kind and smart and fun. Those are my core values. We kind of worked on those during COVID when we were closed for 18 months.
Yes.
So and they're really simple and short, and they don't have much depth necessarily, but they really do describe how we do things. So, it's like everyone, first of all, if you don't know what to do, just be kind, just do that. And then usually things follow through. And then, being smart and strategic and, doing a wedding, there's so many pieces to it. You have to really, have your act together to pull all that off because there's just so many different dimensions and details that when you think about it too much, it's almost discouraging.
Right.
And so having fun, we throw parties for a living. So I think sometimes we have to remember that this is a party. If we're not having fun, they're not going to have fun because we kind of set the tone. If we're stressed out, then, that's going to make the client stressed out because they're going to wonder what's going on over there that I don't know. So, yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine weddings could very easily be not at all fun.
Yeah. And there's a lot of stress that's not related to the catering or the food, but
sure,
family dynamics that have to be, so I try to remember that this isn't just about what we're seeing. There's probably a million things underneath that are happening that we're not aware of. So just trying to stay positive and being capable, and, something always goes wrong. So you have to just sort of be able to deal with that. And my brain likes that. When something goes wrong, I look around and I'm like, okay, what can we make a table out of? What can we, what did I pass on the way here that I can get to do that? So my brain just sort of works well that way. So
yeah, I can see why you're so good at it. Can you imagine what your company would be like? What things would be like if you hadn't joined EO?
No.
It would have been different. I'm not saying better or worse.
Oh, it would be worse.
Yeah,
it would definitely be worse. I think, especially during COVID. I mean, I don't know if I would have gotten through COVID without the support of my forum and just, all and not just the emotional support and the love, but the information out there. Like, I think you helped me with my PPP loan, trying to figure out what the hell that even is and how do we get them. So,
right.
I don't know, the resources I've learned about that I didn't know existed, and just other members that, have helped me out, that someone's like, oh, there's this person, you should go talk to them. They've dealt with that. And I think that having that network has been huge. Yeah. I don't know if it would be around, to be honest, because I think that I might have just folded because we had someone else in our forum that was in the food industry at the same time. And so we had the same kind of thing going on exactly. And that helped realize I'm not the only one there, because we were shut down and we could not do it. We couldn't work. And so that was something that's never happened before and hopefully will never happen again. So, and then the aftermath of coming back and the industry being so torn apart. There's another caterer in EO that I've become really close with that, just because we do the same thing. So she's been really helpful on coming out of that whole dark time. So
Yeah. After the lockdown, to a greater or lesser extent, some people's ability to socialize atrophied significantly.
mine, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, mine too. I remember the first day of being back in touch with people
hmm
in person that I was so exhausted at the
It's exhausting. I don't know if it's because we got older, because we didn't get older. I mean, that didn't happen, but
No,
it's
not at all.
definitely the just coming back out again. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you find that in social events, you feel like people's abilities have resumed to normal? Or is there a shift in the dynamic? And this is kind of purely out of curiosity.
I feel like it looks normal, but I think that everyone is dealing with it. I think that whenever I mention it to people, because I'm pretty open about it, because I'm such a social person, but now I'm kind of like, I go to a party and I'm like, ugh, it's like I have to go find someone to talk to, and it's kind of just, it's more work than it used to be, I feel
Yeah.
like. And
Yeah.
and I've mentioned that to people, and everyone else agrees. So I think that everyone's out there just trying to make it look really fun, but
Right.
it's a challenge, I think.
Yeah. I think it is.
But but people, especially after COVID was over, we had so many people that were so excited to have a party again that we were just slammed, and almost to the point of where we couldn't do it because we couldn't get food, because there was like a shortage in all these different supply chains, and we couldn't get certain things. So that was, and even staff was difficult to find at that time. So I think they've come back to normal. I think, and some people just maybe realize they have more anxiety around being social than they, like me. I didn't know I
Right.
had as much as before when I had that time to myself at home.
Sure. Have staff interactions changed? Have the nature of the staff you can hire changed?
I think a lot of people left the industry, our industry, like the food and beverage industry. A lot of people got out just because they, I think a lot of them realized that they didn't like it when they stopped. They're like, oh, I can do something else.
Oh,
So
sure.
people got retrained. But the ones that are working for us now, we have almost our entire original staff back, which I think is a huge.
Well, that's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, the core team is still there. One just put in her notice because she's, busy with kids. But, I told her, I'm like, you'll be back, so it'll be fine. She's like, yeah, I will. And so
That's really impressive.
yeah, we've had that's part of, I think, the longevity of our team. Like I have a
Yeah.
salesperson that's been here for 26 years. Our chef was here 18 years. And, it becomes kind of part of their identity, I think, working for the Radish, because we call ourselves Radishes. Yeah. So the Radishes are pretty serious about being Radishes.
That's nice. Do you know Carmine White? He's got a cleaning business.
Yeah.
So I interviewed him. He was the last interview. And he was describing something similar, that all of their employees are their employees,
Mhm.
and they have been for a long time.
hmm
And they get to know the houses they're cleaning and the people and all that sort of thing, which is part of the huge quality difference in what they do.
Yeah, I think that's very true. And then our team knows each other, how they work together. So we know that the strengths and people's,
Yeah.
so that you can play to those things. Because, some people are great that work for those companies, but you just don't know them. So you don't know what their strengths are because they're not, one of you. And so I think that's one of our distinguishing things that, we try to always use our own staff. And the food's just, we try to work with the clients on what the constraints of their venue are. So if we're going to be like on a boat, we're not going to, maybe like do a lot of cooking when there's, limited
Sure.
space, or so we kind of design the menus to work around each specific venues, whatever they have going on there. So
It maybe won't be soup.
yeah, exactly. I made Pinot on a boat once, and it was a sailboat, and I had this giant thing of Pinot on, and I was down there, and then it was a wedding. I'm like, well, they're just going to be putting around this little boat, and they started sailing the boat. So the boat is listing, and I'm holding on to the Pinot, and it was not fun. I didn't lose any soup, but it was really stressful being down there in the bowels of a boat trying to cook a big dinner. So I think that was 30 years ago, I think. So I think
Also
I've learned
memorable.
yeah, I think we do such a good job because I've kind of done what not to do already. So I think, like, my son's starting his own little agency right now, and he's, starting it from scratch, and I'm just having so much fun, like helping him, like, trying to figure out like what an invoice should look like. And, he sent it to me, and I'm like, the first one that he was sending to a client was the invoice number was 001. And I'm like,
Oh.
so sweetie, you're going to want to put something in front of that number just so it looks like you've been doing this for years. And he's like, oh, good point. I'm like, just put your birthday in front of it and then put 1. And he's like, oh, okay. So now it's
Right.
261. And so it's been really fun to do all the things I wish I had done, because when we started there was no, ChatGPT, there was no EO for me. So it was just a lot of learning by making mistakes, which, I'm not afraid of making mistakes because I think that's how you learn. But
It's nice to make new ones, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're both really good at that.
Yeah, exactly. What's Jack's agency?
It's called the Milky Way. His last name is Milky. He's building bots for people and he's calling it vibe coding. It's like website building through like Lovables with the app he likes to use. So he's been showing people how to do it so they can do it themselves. So,
Oh, yeah.
So he's been enjoying that. And He's in San Francisco.
Interesting. Is
Yeah.
he doing work with agentic AI? So
He's making agents. I know that. He just built our website out for the Radish. And
Oh,
so,
yeah.
yeah, so that was a really fun experience because he knows more about it than I thought he did. So
sure.
it's been super fun. Just, he was in Thailand doing some work over there. And so we were trying to figure out the 14-hour time difference. And so one of us was always exhausted. So now he's in San Francisco and it's nice to, be on the same time zone. And I'm like, neither one of us is, crabby or tired at the same time. So
I can totally relate to that. We had a period over this summer when Tessa was in Amsterdam, Willa was in Auckland, and then we were in Seattle. And then we went to New Zealand.
Mm.
So we were all in New Zealand, but Tessa was however many hours. And there was no point where we could be asleep and just totally relaxed,
Right,
knowing that
'cause
no
you're-
one needed us.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's people underestimate how difficult that is.
Yeah.
Time changes and stuff.
Yes. Over time, it tends to wear you out.
Yeah, but it's been really fun to kind of coach him through things and just talk through things. And I talk about a lot more businessy stuff than I ever have because he knows so much more about the business. And I think he's kind of osmosis learned things throughout the years because I've been doing this for a long time. But I think he has more. It's got more. I don't know, oomph to it now that he's doing it. So
He seems pretty purely entrepreneurial, just
think
by disposition.
we're pretty sure we both have ADHD too. So I was diagnosed and he hasn't been, but he just says, oh, with our brains, that's not going to work. And this is, so we just joke about that. And that's another thing I think I found out about myself, like in the last 4 years is I got diagnosed with ADHD like after 50, which is, at first I was like, oh my God, I could have run my life so differently. And if I'd known, and that was a huge, growth point for me because I think now I'm not beating myself up over all the things I do wrong.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm trying to make some tools so I'm not, always losing my things. And
I understand that's quite common for women in particular after 50 to be diagnosed, that for some people it sort of arises.
Yeah, I think a lot of women in their 50s are going to therapy.
So maybe was there.
Oh, it was there.
Yeah.
I mean, I told everyone that, like friends from college and friends from work, and I'm like, I have ADHD. And they're like, really? Oh, you do?
Uh-huh.
That's so cute that you didn't know because we all knew.
Tell us more about that.
Yeah, and my husband was kind of the same way and stuff. And actually, he didn't think I had it. Now that he's learned more about it, he's like, oh, it's been really, I think, really a valuable thing for me to know about. And, I beat myself up less about it because it's just, the way I am. And it's less of a flaw, more of just a thing to work around.
Tessa was diagnosed as well.
Oh.
Yeah, the summer before her freshman year of college, because she came home and said, I need to be assessed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really healthy that she got that through before she.
Yeah, it was really good. Claire knew much earlier.
Yeah.
And I was resistant to Tessa being tested. I just thought, honestly, if I'm being totally candid, she's quirky like me. And I thought, I recognize that brain. That makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
I don't know that we need a label for that.
Right.
And sort of by extension,
Yeah.
that I need a label,
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was resistant. And it was, as you said, it was liberating for Tessa to know.
It's huge just knowing that there's something different about my brain. That's something that's, I always thought that everyone just had their shit together. And I'm like, I just don't. And that's fine.
Sure.
But now I'm like, I do have my shit together. I just don't, have the same brain that works like everybody else's. And there's so many of us, it's almost, not even a big deal. And I think
particularly among entrepreneurs.
Yeah, it's a big thing because I think that's part of why I like my job so much because I can put something down and start doing this and it's just always different and I like having all the different things coming at me and it's never boring.
Yeah, I'm the same.
And I can't get fired.
I like that too.
I know, it's really fun.
Oh, yeah. I have all the information. I get to make the decisions and I can't get fired.
I know. I had a lot of jobs before this. I was like, looking back, it's definitely the ADHD and just not wanting to do it. I was at McDonald's and I redesigned their drive-through and got fired over it. And now they're using my system. I'm like, this was my system. I thought about this in like the 80s because they put you in the parking lot and bring your food out so the line's faster.
Yeah.
That was me. And I did that. And then they're like, well, where is everybody? I'm like, they're over in the parking lot. We're going to bring out the food. And they're like, no. And then they didn't like it and I was let go. So I'm trying to create different systems. I like creating systems. I don't like following systems. So that's kind of part of the problem. So I'm really good at making up the idea behind it, but I'm not going to do that because my brain won't necessarily follow through. But
Yeah. I've talked to Tessa about this and acknowledged, if she's ADHD, then I am.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I feel like, and maybe this is my denial, I feel like through my life, I just learned to create systems that work for me.
Right.
And so my life works really well for me.
You have a very structured life, though. You like things the way, you like them, and you don't put yourself in situations where you're not in a place that you know you're going to function well in because
Right.
you like to function well, I think.
Yeah.
So I think you have a higher desire to function well than I do.
Yeah. Well, also, my girls would tell you with some derision that everything in my life is automated.
Right.
So everything's got a tracker on it. Everything that has to happen at a certain point is
Yeah.
automated
Yeah.
so that it doesn't rely on me remembering. And
Yeah.
yeah,
So you find the tools
yeah,
that work for you. And
exactly.
yeah.
And I work with people who are so organized
Yeah.
and so systematic.
Yeah. With catering, you have to make sure that, one linen not being there sounds silly, but you can't do it without that. There's a table without a cloth on it. And these people have very high expectations of how things are going to look. And
Right.
so that's the stuff that really matters is the nitty gritty and,
I'm interested in your perspective on this. That stuff really matters foundationally. I don't know that magic comes from those things. Magic comes from being keenly aware of the relational aspects of an event like that, or being highly attuned to what might be special, or being really in touch with novelty. And all of those things goes with the wiring of our brains.
Yeah. But I think that you can't be in that place if you're missing a linen.
Absolutely.
So I can't.
You need both.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you definitely need both but I think that, like you always said, what's your, in your business, it's like bringing joy to people or bringing the unexpected. I think I kind of stole that. And I think that's something that you bring something extra to it, so
Sure.
it's like just something that's unexpected, that's fun. And, you don't have to tell them about everything
Right.
that's coming. So they're happy and delighted, I think is your word, delighted.
Joy.
Yeah.
It's a core value.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was the thing I ripped off from you. So
Nice.
thank you, EO.